There's been some news that's broken over the last few days that Adam Driver came out revealing that him and Disney were in talks to create a new Star Wars film called The Hunt for Ben Solo. At least that was kind of the idea was being thrown around a bit. Now, what was this film exactly supposed to be? Was it going to be like a prequel where we get to see the fall of Ben Solo where dark forces were hunting after him? Or was it when after he fell and his mom and father were hunting after him? Exactly what was the story that we're supposed to see here that maybe would also justify Luke Skywalker bringing down his lightsaber on his nephew's head? Well, unfortunately, that's not really quite the story that we see here. According to what I've been doing my research, that the story will be taking place after the sequel trilogy with Ben Solo trying to redeem himself. Exactly how he would do that after he killed his father, Han Solo, and his mom, Leia Organa, and his uncle Luke Skywalker through the Force, I don't really know, but that's apparently what the story was supposed to be about. Now, with all that said, we don't really get too much more about the story here at this time, but we do get to hear some of the thoughts from Adam Driver and exactly what he was thinking about when this whole scenario took place. So let's go ahead and read exactly what Adam Driver had to say. I was interested in doing another Star Wars. I had been talking about doing another one since 2021. So this would be about 2 years after The Rise of Skywalker, or i.e., The Rise of Palpatine, came out. Kathleen Kennedy had reached out, and I always said, with a great director and a great story, I'd be there in a second. I love that character and love playing him. Honestly, probably was one of my more favorite characters out of the whole cast. Ray was okay. Flynn was fine. Poe Dameron was okay, but none of them really I thought was amazingly stand out. I thought Adam Driver did probably the best out of the whole cast, but once more, he was kind of a weak link. He was a whiny, forgettable, and not that great of a character. So as I said, out of the cast that was there, I thought he did the best. But that doesn't mean that he was great. Far from it. In fact, you could probably make the argument that maybe Chewbacca was better, maybe R2D2, but that's about it. Like, even Chewie, like, why does Chewie go and not hug Leia after Han dies, whereas Leia then goes hugs Rey instead of Chewie? Like, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. With all that said, let's continue forward. Driver detailed a concept for the film, which Steven Spielberg wrote a script for, which the actor always says one of the coolest explanative scripts I had ever had been a part of. Wow, cannot read. With that said, like, I'm glad you found a film that you really were engaged with and really liked. That's amazing, man. I'm sorry that you don't get to play that, but let's just be real here. This was Disney and Lucasfilm. It probably wouldn't be that original script that you fell in love with at the end of it. Because what we read next here is we presented the script to Lucasfilm. They loved the idea. They totally understood our angle and why we were doing it, Driver said. We took it to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, and they said no. They didn't see how Ben Solo was alive, and that was that. The film was tentatively titled The Hunt for Ben Solo, with Driver adding, but it is no more, so I can finally talk about it. In a statement to AP, Associated Press, Soderbergh said, I really enjoyed making the movie in my head, and I'm just sorry the fans won't get to see it. And then we get to have this below section down here where we're talking about the upcoming releases for The Mandalorian and Pedro Pascal and all these other films that are just kind of forgettable and not really worth mentioning. So the main thing I want to talk about here is, like, yeah, you had Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni coming out and giving you a stamp of approval. Those are the last people I want to be in control of Star Wars, much less approving stories for Star Wars. You still have Ahsoka Tano running around for no reason. She should have died in the Clone Wars, but you still have her running around. Heck, she might even die in her own TV show. We're not even sure really about that, what her endgame's going to be there. You created this time travel device that's called the World Between Worlds that allows you to take her from her reality and bring her into this new one so she doesn't die. You have Maul coming back and somehow living. Like, he was cut in half for a decade and somehow he comes back as an enemy. Like, what the frick is going on there? Yes, I understand, in the expanded universe, Palpatine did come back as some essence or force ghost and was trying to rule the galaxy once more. That storyline, I'm gonna be honest, it was cool when I was a kid, but now I'm getting older and realize, like, no, that was a dumb story. They should never have done that. Once someone dies in Star Wars, they should be dead. The only way to come back should be through a Force ghost if you're a Jedi, or a Sith. Even the Sith, though, I don't believe you could come back as a Force ghost, but at least with the Jedi, that's how you would want to do it if you're going to bring anyone back. You shouldn't have them be like what they did with the Rise of Palpatine, bring them back and force them into the story. So I completely agree with Bob Iger. They're like, this just doesn't make sense. I wish you would have had that foresight back in 2019 with the Rise of Palpatine, but at least you're realizing the mistake that you made back then now, Bob. With that, I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think this film could have been something great? Do you think it would have been amazing? I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts down below. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a dislike if you did not. And don't forget to subscribe. Y'all take care now. Bye.